The federal government sounds more note of warning to those fanny members of discord and making hate speeches as the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, moves to rescue the nation from falling apart. Watch what you say is a clear signal from his speech. And we engage the Minister of Information on the promises and activities of programs of the APC government. He says the Nigeria the party promised in 2015. We find out right here. Many thanks for joining in, everyone. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Seun Okinbaloye in Lagos. Well, now let's get started on the program, everyone. With growing concerns over eviction notice to Igbos living in the northern region of the country, and the tension, agitations, and also the clamor across the country, the federal government has moved to douse the tension. The acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has been meeting with leaders and representatives of ethnic and regional groups in Abuja on the ways to resolve the growing tension. Here is one of an excerpt of the acting president's speech. He said, and I quote now, the acting president said, as leaders, our voices ought to be heard loud and clear at moments like these in the defense and articulation of what is beneficial to the nation, end of quote. Let's get more insight on what the federal government is doing. Joining us now is the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Muhammad, who joins us on the program. Many thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you, Seun.
A lot of people have been talking about so many possible solutions to the issues of the agitations that we see in the southeast, and now the eviction notice to Igbos living in the northern region of the country by some northern youth groups in the northern region. What exactly is the motive? Is the federal government meeting all the regions, or is just meeting the the heads of the northern and the southeastern group?
For the moment, the acting president is meeting religious leaders, political leaders, leaders of thought, youth groups, and others, mainly from the north and the southeast for the moment.
It's interesting, though, with the kind of thing that we're seeing, your party, the APC, did not consent to the 2014 confab. But the National Assembly has asked for that report and considering maybe that's the way to go. Would the federal government consider that report perhaps for implementation when everybody is now talking about restructuring the nation?
Well, I read in the papers that the National Assembly, I think Senate in particular, has asked the federal government to forward to it the reports of the 2014 confab. When we received that invitation, I'm sure would act accordingly. But I think I've said it at several fora that the priority of government today, right now, is to keep this country safe. The priority of this government is to revamp the economy, and the priority of this government right now is to ensure that we fight corruption. And we put this country on a very stable footing. The issue of restructuring probably might come later, but that is not on our front burner right now.
Don't you think that there is a need to think out with that, the clamor that the nation needs to be restructured? Do you think so?
No, like I said, you see, every government will pick its own priority. And I think as a government, we know what the issues really are now. I think I would rather stop there to say that our major concern right now is to ensure the territorial integrity of this country, douse all tensions, ensure that the economy is revived, and put the nation on a very stable pedestal.
Did the president, Muhammadu Buhari, who we understand is in London at the moment, did he give his nod to what the acting president is doing, the consultations with the leaders of these various regions?
The acting president is daily in touch with Mr. President, so I'm very confident that Mr. President is in the full know of what the acting president is doing, and there's so much trust between the acting president and the president. I don't think that should be an area of concern at all.
Like we understand that the statement accredited to the presidency saying that the president gave a nod for the acting president to sign the budget, which he said that is in the interest of the nation. So the acting president gets his directives from the president right now for most of the decisions.
I think it's too simplistic to put it that way. If I ask you to act for me, I think it's only natural for you to consult me on certain issues that you think are very important. So that's what happens, is actually consultation by the acting president with Mr. President on issues that are very, very important, such as the issue of signing the budget.
For the budget eggs, for example, I mean, inside sources within the president, we do understand that one of the delays was because of about 400 insertions into the budget, which delayed the signing of the budget. And afterwards, the acting president did sign the budget. Where those resolved, and how did the executive resolve with the legislature on some of these insertions?
There were several meetings between the executive and the legislature. Unfortunately, I was a member of that committee that met with the leadership of the National Assembly, and I can say that we have very largely resolved the issues. I think what we made clear at the meeting between the National Assembly and the executive, the meeting was, led by the acting president himself. So there are certain projects that are so crucial and which this government is very passionate about. And I must say that the National Assembly also responded with a lot of patriotism, and were able to resolve largely all the issues that came up. That I feel are still outstanding, but the important thing is that the budget are signed, especially with the agreement by the National Assembly that we can now send a request for environment would allow us to prosecute our major flagship programs. So
the budget was signed with those padded projects?
No. You see, you using words. I don't think anybody has ever talked about anything being padded.
Because what we understand that those over 400 projects were not designed by the executive. They were included and inserted by the National Assembly, which a lot of people have debated that the National Assembly may not have the right to impute a new project. So when you said that the acting president signed those budgets, realizing some of these, the question is, did the acting president sign the budget with those 400 insertions included?
I don't think you are not listening, Sean. I said the National Assembly leadership met with the executive arm of government, and we resolved that the projects that are the flagship projects of this government must not be affected by whatever changes is happening in the budget. Now, the issue of padding does not arise at all.
But those 400 projects were there, Minister.
You see, people often misunderstand what happened. What happened in that budget? I'll give you an example. For instance, the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. The Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, we complained that 21 billion naira had been taken off. Now the Senate said yes, it's because they knew or they thought there was another source of funding from a PPP agreement. And we said, look, the PPP agreement is not certain, and Nigerians are very anxious that that road be constructed and finished. If in the event that the PPP arrangement comes through, it can also be used, for another thing. For instance, that company can now apply for concession, and that's why it was resolved. Ditto for the issue of the standard, standard gauge. So it's not really about padding or no padding. It's about the National Assembly having, information which we believe was not sufficient enough to warrant the action they were taking in respect of certain projects.
I would like to ask you this question before we go on a break. You were a backbone of the APC. Of course, now you are the mouthpiece of government right now. From the program of your party, do you think the structure we currently operate as a people is right?
I don't see anything wrong with the structure we operate right now. No, I don't.
A lot of people say it's defective, that the federal structure, that the center is too powerful, and that the center should shed some of this responsibility to the regions or to the state.
Well, you see, I'm the spokesperson of government, and the person of government right now, like I said, is that the most important thing for us now is to ensure the territorial integrity of this country, ensure that all citizens are safe and secure, revamp the economy, and ensure that there's prosperity everywhere. And therefore, for now, I think that will be our major objective.